Hi, my name is Sean Dawson and I do fly writing. This is a silly little hobby where we fly a track such that it makes a little drawing on the ADSB trace that people can see on FlightAware or ADSB Exchange or Flight Radar 24 or various apps. I got into this initially during COVID. Ordinarily, I fly with other people. I hate flying with an empty right seat. But during COVID, I couldn't find anyone to fly with me, and I got this email from somebody with this challenge about who could make a drawing on FlightAware, and I was in. My dogs are named Penguin and Chicken, so those are the first drawings that I did. They started out pretty simple, but pretty soon they got complicated enough that I needed to write myself some software to automate some of the processes and make it happen. The most complicated drawing I've done is probably this Monterey Bay manta ray. It's a kind of a 3D line drawing of a manta ray that I did. Because of the limitations of the planning software in the airplane, it actually required two separate flight plans that we then had to sync into the avionics in the airplane in the middle of the mission. It was I had to have a co-pilot there. And that's when I started having a co-pilot in all of these little flights to help me out. As with a lot of things in aviation, this can be a little bit harder than it looks. We're going to provide a link to some software that can help plan out flights and that you can see how I do it. A couple of considerations to think about. It's a lot easier to do bigger drawings than smaller drawings. The reason for that is your turns are a lot wider in the bigger drawings and a lot tighter in the smaller drawings. Sometimes, obviously things with broad curves are a lot easier than things with very sharp edges. Points are particularly difficult because you have to kind of trade altitude for space in those circumstances. You end up doing wingovers and that type of thing to get the points. And the tighter the drawing goes, obviously the more on the ball you have to be in order to get it done. The second thing is there's no do-overs. If you go out there and you make a mistake, you've got to land and do the whole mission over again. So because you kind of want to do something that you're going to be able to get right the first time. Obviously, practice makes perfect also. Today, we're going to be doing an NFlight logo. And this, it looks pretty simple, but you got to think about how am I going to fly a track that's going to be this nice continuous thing. You don't want to go back over lines that you've already drawn because that looks kind of bad. For especially complicated flights, I like to do those with a co-pilot. And this is going to be my co-pilot on this flight. This is Hunter. So here's what we're going to do. And take off out of Montgomery Airfield. There's a Bravo shelf here, so we won't be able to climb past about 4,500 until we get out in this direction. But once we do, we'll get up to probably about 9,000 feet. I want to fly this mission between 8,000 and 10,000 feet. The ground out here is around 6,500, and we're pretty far away from the places where people are likely going to be wanting to transit the area. That can be a problem. I've had missions where I've gotten pretty close to there was traffic coming and you have to scrub or something like that. It's a shame to have to scrub a mission because someone flies right through the middle of it. The autopilot can do some of this for us. The autopilot has, it turns at a standard rate. So there's very little chance that it would be able to do a nice sharp turn like this. It might be able to do this gradual turn depending on how big it is. I designed this figure so that it would be about 13 miles tall. And so it's possible the autopilot might be able to do this turn for us. We'll watch for it. It might not be able to, but these lines are not going to be very long. I mean, we're talking about 1 or 2 minutes maximum. Obviously, it can't do this maneuver. It might be able to fly this nice circle for us. If it does, that will be a nice rest for us, and it will be a nice a welcome rest. We're going to be happy that we get to sort of relax for this time period. Once we get back into the figure, again, it'll be the same sort of thing. The autopilot probably can do this line. Might be able to do this, and then we've got, you know, this next point. On both of the points, that's where I'm gonna, there's really two places where I need your help. The first is coming in and out of these points. I need to be reminded of what this heading is gonna be. We're gonna be, you know, we're gonna come down like this, and we're gonna do this turn. It's a left turn, and I wanna come out at this 350-degree heading. If we overshoot it, or, you know, I turn the wrong way or something like that, things are gonna look really ugly. The same is true for this other point where we have to come out at 170 degrees. So help me remember what these two headings are. Those are the only two places in the drawing where we have a problem. The second place, well, I'll especially need your help, is if somehow we fly by a waypoint without the system recognizing that we've passed it, which can happen especially in these course reversals, then I'll need you to find where we are in the FMS and select the next waypoint. If we don't get the next waypoint selected in, we won't be able to continue the figure. So, make sense? Any questions? Great. Okay, pre-flight's over. Hunter, why don't you take us through all this camera setup so that we can capture the video for the flight?
Yeah, so to document our flight today, we're going to be using GoPros. Here we have the GoPro Hero 11, and it's paired with the in-flight cam exterior ball head mount. So this guy, there's a little spud here, and this ball head mount comes in and out of it. The spud will stay on the plane if we wanted to leave it there, and we can take the camera on and off. Directed at us as we're flying, and it's wide enough where we can get, you know, from propeller all the way to the rudder in the single shot. As we go inside, we'll be able to hear us talking and narrating the flight because we have an in-flight cam audio cable connected to the GoPro here. This cable will plug in to where our headsets normally plug in. Plug in the headset here. And then for audio between Sean and I, we're going to be using our in-flight Nomads. And what that is, it is a removable microphone attachment for noise canceling headphones. In this case, I've got the Bose QC Ultras here. So it's piped back here to another GoPro, which is attached via the in-flight cam claw mount. Since this camera right here is going to be shooting out from the cockpit through the propeller, we've got an in-flight cam propeller filter for the GoPro on it as well, and that's going to help that walking propeller and warbling propeller effect to be minimized.
So talk to me about how are we doing the batteries on all this stuff? How much battery power are we going to have? How are we going to make sure we can capture the whole flight?
Yeah, so
or can we?
Yeah, well, the GoPros have an internal battery. It is removable, but since we're going to be in flight and it's behind us, we're not going to be moving it in and out. In this case, we've added a secondary USB battery pack, which is the cable you see hanging down.
Yeah, I see
that cable actually runs into the in-flight cam cable and then into the camera. So we're doing both audio and power through that one adapter box. So that's going to allow us to have an extended runtime. Now out on the wingtip, obviously we can't go out there during flight to get the battery out. So we set that one up to come on at a certain time after we take off. So this one right here, the workaround we've done on this one is we've set it up to turn on 30 minutes after we take off. So that should give us enough time to taxi, take off, and get to the area where we're gonna be drawing the logo. That's called scheduled capture for this, and in-flight actually has a video explaining how to turn that on in your camera and utilize that function. Very helpful for ones that are mounted externally.
So we don't have to worry about turning that on or making it record, or like while we're in the middle of flying, oh, I forgot to hit the record button. This just comes on and just records until it does.
Nope, we're setting it up for a certain time. It'll come on and it'll record all the way until the battery is depleted, however long that may be, and then we'll use what footage we need out of it.
All right, well, let's go fly.
What was your call sign again?
127 Mike Hotel.
127 Mike Hotel. Hold short of taxiway hotel, please. Opposite direction. Biplane will be going all the way down to 2-3, give away, and then once you give way to that aircraft, continue.
Okay, we will hold short at hotel for the Great Lakes and then continue from there.
Thanks.
2 Romeo Whiskey. Give way to the Cessna taxiing them now. And then you'll see 2 Cherokees taxiing left around at hotel. Give way
Are we happy with the state of the recording?
Juliet Hotel.
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm going to call up and get us out of here. Is there any indication?
Approaching waypoint.
Okay. All right, so mission has started.
Autopilot. Disconnect.
Montgomery Ground, RV127 Mike Hotel at 23 in Hotel, taxi to coast.
RV127 Mike Hotel, Montgomery Ground, taxi via Hotel Golf.
Hotel Golf to coast.